Welcome back, beautiful souls. Today we're diving deep into January 2026. And I have to tell you, this is not just another January. This is the month that sets the stage for the most transformative year of our lifetime. In this video, I'm going to walk you through January almost day by day. I'm going to be looking at the major transits, aspects, and planetary movements with the exact dates, and I will provide degrees as well in some cases. And then we will be looking at your specific sun sign, so I will break it down what this means in your everyday life, your relationships, or your career, your money, or your spiritual journey. And here's the thing. January ends with one of the rarest planetary ingresses we'll ever experience. Neptune entering Aries for the first time in 165 years. So grab your calendar, take some notes, and let's map out your January 2026 together. Before I go into the day-by-day breakdown, let me give you the overview, because context is everything. January 2026 is what I call a preparation month and a transition month. We begin with all the personal planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Sun in Capricorn, creating this grounded, practical, let's get things done energy. But by the end of the month, Mercury, Venus, and Mars have all shifted into Aquarius, completely transforming the vibe from traditional to revolutionary. And here's what makes this month extraordinary. First, we have Saturn at the very last degrees of Pisces all month long. Saturn moves from 26 degrees to 28 degrees Pisces through January. Saturn had been in Pisces since March 2023, teaching us lessons about spirituality, compassion, boundaries with the formless, and mastering our emotions. January represents the final exam. Whatever spiritual lessons you've been learning since 2023, January is when you demonstrate mastery. In real life, this looks like finally getting or setting healthy boundaries with that energy draining friend or family member. It's finishing that creative or spiritual project you've started years ago. It's realizing you can be compassionate without being a martyr. Second, we have the Neptune also sitting at the very end of Pisces, preparing for its historic shift into Aries on January 26th. Neptune has been in Pisces since 2011. That's 14 years. For many of you watching this, Neptune has been in Pisces your entire adult life. Neptune in Pisces brought us the rise of social media, filtered reality, increased addiction and escapism, but also massive spiritual awakening, meditation going mainstream, the spiritual but not religious movement. All of that, Neptune in Pisces. On January 26th, Neptune enters Aries for the first time in 165 years. None of us have experienced this. This is once in multiple lifetimes astrology. And third, we have Jupiter retrograde in Cancer all month. Jupiter moves backward from 21 degrees to 17 degrees Cancer. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer at its absolute strongest, but it's retrograde, which means the expansion is internal rather than external. This is the month for reviewing your emotional growth, reevaluating home and family matters, and going deeper into what truly makes you feel secure. Fourth, Uranus stations direct on January 30th at 27 degrees Taurus. Uranus has been retrograde since September 2025, asking us to internally review our values, finances, and material security. On January 30th, Uranus starts its preparation for the direct motion, and we can start implementing the changes we've been contemplating. And fifth, Pluto is moving direct through early Aquarius, continuing its 20-year transformation of collective consciousness, technology, and power structures. So that's the setup. Now let's go week by week and day by day. So we begin 2026 with heavy Capricorn energy. The Sun is in Capricorn until the 19th, and all three personal planets, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, are in Capricorn at the start of the month. The Sun is here until January 19th. Mercury and Mars, January 20th, January 23rd, and Venus up until January 18th. This is maximum Capricorn energy, ambition, discipline, structure, responsibility, building things that last. Mercury in Capricorn. January 2nd to January 20th. Mercury governs how we think, communicate, learn, and process information. In Capricorn, Mercury is practical, strategic, realistic, and focused on results. So from January 1st, 2nd to January 19th, 20th, your thinking will be goal-oriented and practical, focused on what actually works, strategic about time and resources, and less emotional and more logical. Then Venus is in Capricorn. On January 1st, Venus is already there. It's been there since December. It is now at 11 degrees and moves out of Capricorn by January 17th, January 18th. Venus governs love, relationships, beauty, values, money. In Capricorn, Venus is mature, practical, loyal, and focused on commitment. So your approach to love is more serious and less frivolous. It's focused on long-term potential, appreciating reliability in partners, attracted to mature and accomplished people. And then finally, Mars in Capricorn throughout January up until the 23rd. This is about disciplined action. Mars is exalted in Capricorn. It functions at its absolute best here. So Mars in Capricorn is like a seasoned general with a detailed battle plan. It's strategic, disciplined, enduring, ambitious, and unstoppable. So you will have incredible focus on long-term goals, stamina and endurance, strategic thinking, ability to delay gratification for bigger rewards. So, Leo, for you, the Capricorn Stellium is in your 6th house. This is your house of work, health, daily routines, and service. So, if you are a Leo rising, intense focus, you will focus intensively now on work productivity and health optimization. You're thinking strategically about your daily routines. For example, you can create a detailed morning routine or implement a time blocking activity for work tasks, or you can research the most efficient productivity systems and commit to a structured fitness plan with specific goals. Leo suns Your identity is expressed now through disciplined work and healthy habits. You want to know for you want to be known for reliability and excellence. For example, this can see you overhaul your diet based on research. You can start tracking your workouts and health metrics and approach your job with renewed discipline and professionalism. If you're a Leo moon, your emotional security is now recognized through organized routines and health practices. You feel best when your day is structured. For example, you can feel very anxious when your routine is disrupted. So, you create detailed schedules, meal preparations on Sundays, and establish consistent sleep and exercise times that make you feel in control. And that's just an example of how the stellium in Capricorn in your sixth house of work, health, daily routines, and service can manifest for you, Leos. On January 2nd, there is a full moon in Cancer at 13 degrees. The moon governs our emotions, instincts, subconscious patterns, nurturing needs, sense of safety and security, and how we process feelings. It represents our inner world, our relationship with money, family, our need for comfort, and our emotional responses to life. Full moons specifically bring illumination, culmination, release, and emotional clarity. What was hidden becomes visible, and situations reach their peak. So, the first major lunar event of 2026 is this one. This full moon is significant because it's the wolf moon, it's the traditional name for January's full moon. It's conjunct Jupiter in Cancer. It is a big orb though. Um, but Jupiter at 20 degrees Cancer does amplify this energy. It opposes the Sun in Capricorn, so your work, home, public, private achievement, nurturing tension. Um, Full moons bring things to light, create emotional peaks, and often bring situations to completion. So, in general, what you might experience for all of us would be strong emotions about family or home situations, realizations about what you need to feel emotionally secure, family gatherings or important conversations, home related news or decisions, and heightened intuition and emotional sensitivity. This full moon asks us all, what do you need to feel at home in your own life? So, this full moon in Cancer on January 3rd is at 13 degrees Cancer. So, the Sun is at 13 degrees Capricorn, opposing the Moon at 13 degrees Cancer. Jupiter at 20 degrees Cancer also here conjuncts the moon within a 7-degree orb. So you will be most effective if you have planets or angles at 11 to 15 degrees Cancer, as the moon is conjunct those planets. So you can see emotional culmination, family home revelations. If you are 11 to 15 degrees Capricorn, the Sun is conjunct this full moon. So career, public life illuminated there. If you have any planets or angles at 11 to 15 degrees Aries, there is a square now from both the Sun and the Moon, so there will be some tension between independence and family versus career demands. And same for Libra, 11 to 15 degrees, the square from both Sun and the Moon can see some relationship needs versus home work balance challenge there. And if you are anything between 17, 18 degrees to 22 degrees Cancer. Jupiter is also conjunct this full moon for you, within a 7-degree orb. So you can see blessings in your home, family, and emotional abundance in general. Now, if you also have planets at between 18 and 22 degrees Cancer specifically, Jupiter is directly conjunct them during this full moon, creating an extra blessing in home, family, and emotional realm. So this can see some beautiful manifestations through family gatherings, home improvement gifts or opportunities, emotional healing that feels miraculous, family member bringing good news, or feeling abundantly supported and loved. Your home situation can be improving significantly at this date. Pregnancy, if that's your path, it's also possible. Family, financial support, or inheritance in general. So, if we now move on to the second and third week of January, so let's say from the 18th to the 21st of January, that's when the great shift begins. So, let's start first with January 18th. There is a new moon in Capricorn. New moons mark fresh starts, new beginnings, intention setting, and planting seeds for the future. When the sun and the moon align in the sky, it creates a powerful portal for manifesting, initiating projects, and committing to new paths. New moons are about potential, possibilities, and consciously choosing what you want to grow in your life over the next lunar cycle. This is extraordinarily significant because 20 degrees Capricorn is an anaretic degree. It carries wisdom of entire sign. New moons represent new beginnings. It's the best time to set intentions. And final Capricorn new moon before the sun enters in Aquarius the next day. So set intentions around career goals, long-term legacy, structures and systems, responsibility, authority, achievement. This new moon says to all of us, build something that will last. For you, Leo, the new moon is in your 6th house of your daily routines. This new moon revolutionizes your daily life through structured routines. Whether you are Leo rising, optimizing your schedule, a Leo sun, finding identity in disciplined practice, or a Leo moon needing emotional stability through health habits, you are now committing to systems that support your well-being. This is about mastering the mundane so the extraordinary can emerge. So, for example, this can see you designing a morning routine that you commit for, say, 90 days. Waking at the same time, 20 minutes of movement each day, healthy breakfast, and planning your day before checking your phone. You maybe can now start tracking it in a habit app with accountability, or you schedule that physical you've been postponing, book the dentist, commit to a specific health goal like training for a 5K or something like that, with a very structured running program that starts on Monday. This is just an example of how can this manifest very specifically for you, Leos. On the same day, on January 18th, Venus enters Aquarius, leaves Capricorn and enters Aquarius. Venus governs love, relationships, attraction, beauty, pleasure, values, money, art, and what brings us joy. It shows how we give and receive affection, what we find beautiful, how we relate to others, and what we value most. Venus represents our capacity for connection, harmony, aesthetics, and the quality of sweetness in life. Basically, everything that makes life worth living. This is a dramatic shift in the energy of love, relationships, and values. So Venus was in Capricorn up to January 17th, when it showed us a serious, committed, practical, traditional, mature way of living. With Venus in Aquarius from January 18th, we become or start seeing a more free spirited, unconventional, friendship oriented, independent, and innovative way of life. Practically after January 18th, there is a desire for more freedom in general for all of us in partnerships, attraction to unique people, intellectual connection mattering more than chemistry. So when Venus moves into Aquarius, it moves into your seventh house, Leo. The seventh house governs committed partnerships, marriage, contracts, and one on one relationships. Venus blesses your partnership sector now with unconventional love. Whether you are Leo rising, attracting unique partners, a Leo sun, finding identity through relationship, or a Leo moon, feeling emotionally fulfilled by authentic connection, your relationships become more interesting and liberating after January 18th. You are valuing now freedom with commitment and intellectual connection alongside emotional bond. For example, if you are partnered, you suggest trying something new together, like attending an unconventional event or exploring a shared interest that you've never pursued, or giving each other more space to pursue individual passions. Why not? Conversations become more stimulating and honest now. If you're single, you can attract someone unusual, unexpected, or not your type. And it works beautifully. You might discuss or experiment with non traditional relationship structures. Um, for your business partnerships, they can now form based on shared vision and mutual respect for independence. And then one day after that, um, on January 19th, Sun will enter Aquarius. As you can see now, almost all planets have moved back from Capricorn into Aquarius. The Sun governs our core identity, the life force, vitality, ego, conscious will, and sense of purpose. It represents who we are in essence, our creative self expression, and how we shine in the world. The Sun shows what gives us energy, what we are here to become, and the qualities we're developing throughout our lifetime. It's our central organizing principle. It's the I am at the heart of our being. Sun shifts from Capricorn into Aquarius, from traditional to revolutionary. Aquarius Sun energy speaks about innovation, progress, community, individuality, technology, freedom, intellectual stimulation. For you, Leo, Sun in Aquarius and is in your seventh house of partnership, marriage, and one on one relationships. So, if you're Leo rising, this transit highlights your one on one relationships and teaches you about collaboration, compromise, and what you truly need from a partner. It's about balancing your independence with a genuine partnership. Leo Sun can experience their identity through relating to others and may attract unconventional partners or need to reinvent existing relationships to allow more freedom and authenticity. Leo Moon seeks emotional fulfillment through equal partnership and feels more secure when relationships honor both togetherness and individual autonomy, not fusion or codependence. So, for example, you and your partner can establish new boundaries that give you both more independence. Maybe you take separate vacations, or pursue different hobbies, or just agree to have one night a week dedicated to your own interests. If you're single, you are attracted to people who are unconventional, intellectually stimulating, and value their freedom as much as you do. You might connect with someone through a group activity or online community rather than traditional dating apps. In business partnerships, you are drawn to collaborators who bring innovative ideas and challenge you to think differently. And you are willing to restructure agreements to create more equitable, forward thinking arrangements. And then on January 20th, we have the golden window for the Saturn Sextile Uranus. This has been active since December, I would say, with a very extended orb, say around 5 degrees orb, September 25th, and it will still going to continue to be felt until February 13th, give or take. But January 20th, it's very exact. The orb, it's very exact. Because Saturn is at 27 degrees. Is at 27 degrees Pisces, and Uranus is at 27 degrees Taurus. 27 degrees 32 minutes, 27 degrees 38 minutes. Very, very close. This is it. It's exact. Basically, what this represents for all of us is an opportunity for sustainable innovation, practical revolutionary and responsible changes, and structured creativity. So the key question here that we are being asked by this Saturn Sextile Uranus aspect is, what's one significant change I can make that's both revolutionary, Uranus, and responsible, Saturn? For you, Leo, Saturn is in your 8th house and it's sextile Uranus in your 10th house. If you're Leo rising, this sextile connects deep transformation and shared resources with career innovation. You are making sustainable changes to how you handle power, intimacy, and joint finances while revolutionizing your professional life responsibly. As Saturn is in your 8th house of transformation and Uranus in your 10th house of career. Leo Sun expresses identity through career moves that require both psychological courage and practical planning. And Leo Moon finds emotional security when professional advancement includes healing old patterns around worthiness and control. Just as an example, this can see you renegotiating a business partnership or financial arrangement with clear boundaries and fair terms. Then use that stability to launch an innovative professional project with proper funding and structure. Or you might work with a therapist on career related fears while simultaneously taking calculating risks like pitching new ideas, pursuing promotions, or starting a business. You're healing your relationship with power and authority while building a public presence that reflects your authentic expertise, understanding that true leadership requires both inner transformation and outer achievement. On January 20th, Mercury enters Aquarius. Mercury governs communication, thinking, learning, information processing. It also governs short trips, siblings, and the exchange of ideas. It represents how our mind works, how we speak and write, how we learn and teach, and how we connect the dots. Mercury is the messenger, the translator, the networker. It's about gathering information, making connections, and expressing what we know. Mercury shifts from Capricorn strategic thinking to Aquarius innovative thinking. So from January 20th until February 7th, Mercury in Aquarius is asking us to think outside the box, to get to be interested in science and technology, to be direct and authentic communicators, to be inventive problem solvers. So when Mercury enters Aquarius on January 20th, for you, Leo, it enters your seventh house, again, of partnership, marriage, and one on one relationships. So now we have the Sun, Venus in your seventh house, and now Mercury joining. So if you're Leo rising, Mercury focuses on your mental energy, on partnership communication and relationship dynamics. You are now thinking clearly about what you need from relationships and expressing it directly. For Leo Sun, you can find intellectual stimulation through one on one conversations that challenge your perspective and refine your thinking, while Leo Moon processes relationship emotions by talking them through objectively, needing partners who can engage in authentic, intelligent dialogue about feelings and needs. So, for example, you can initiate important conversations with your partner about needs for independence, intellectual stimulation, or changing relationship structures. Discussing these topics calmly and rationally rather than emotionally. If you're single, you're attracted to people who engage you mentally and communicate authentically. First dates feel more like intellectual exchanges than romantic performances. In business partnerships, you are clarifying agreements, discussing roles and expectations explicitly, or brainstorming innovative directions with clear communication. You are reading about relationship psychology, trying new communication techniques, or maybe simply having more honest conversations about what partnership means to you. And now, moving on to the final week of January. Final days. January 23rd is basically from January 23rd to January 26th is the Aquarius conversions and Neptune's historic shift. On January 23rd, it is Mars who enters Aquarius. Mars governs action, drive, energy, passion, anger, desire, assertion, and how we pursue what we want. It represents our warrior spirit, our physical vitality, our courage, competitiveness. Mars shows how we take initiative, how we defend ourselves, how we express anger, and how we channel our willpower. It's the planet of action, motivation, and forward momentum. Pure drive and desire made manifest. So Mars shifts from disciplined Capricorn to rebellious Aquarius. So Mars in Aquarius from January 23rd to March 4th. It's action motivated by ideals, fighting for causes, independent approach to goals, innovation in how you pursue your desires. For all of us, it is a completely transformed vibe from traditional to revolutionary. And now all personal planets are in Aquarius. The Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. Leo, when Mars enters Aquarius, joins the party that happens in your seventh house of committed partnerships, marriage, contracts, one-on-one relationships. Mars activates partnerships with independent, assertive energy. Whether you are Leo rising, pursuing relationships on your terms, a Leo sun, finding identity through partnership equality, or a Leo moon, emotionally needing authentic connection, you are now motivated to create partnership based on mutual independence and intellectual stimulation. You simply refuse to lose yourself for connection. So, the way you can see this in your life, if you're partnered, you can now initiate conversations about needing more space or independence or excitement, proposing separate hobbies, friend groups, or even trial periods of distance. You are simply unwilling to compromise on your authenticity for harmony. If you're single, you're attracted to unusual people and pursue them boldly, unafraid of rejection. You might experience conflict in partnerships around freedom versus commitment, or you can be fighting for your right to remain yourself within the relationship. Business partnerships are formed or dissolved based on alignment of vision and mutual respect for autonomy. And now, on January 26th, the Neptune enters Aries. This is a historic game changer. This is a once in 165 years historic event. Now, Neptune. It governs spirituality, dreams, imagination, illusions, compassion, transcendence, surrender, mysticism, and the dissolution of boundaries. It represents our connection to the divine, our capacity for unconditional love, our artistic inspiration, and our desire to merge with something greater than ourselves. Neptune can be both the highest spiritual vision and the deepest delusion. It's where we seek meaning beyond the material world. Neptune enters Aries at 0 degrees for the first time since 1875. This is a fundamental shift. Until now, Aries was in Pisces, and it was saying dissolve your ego. Well, Neptune in Aries will now say take spiritual action. Neptune in Pisces was saying surrender to the flow. Neptune in Aries is now saying be a warrior for your beliefs, or Neptune in Pisces was saying we are all one. Neptune in Aries is now saying have courage to pursue your dreams. What January 26 means for all of us, we will all feel something shift, a sudden courage, a calling to fight for a cause, or impatience with passive practices. For you, Leo, when Neptune enters Aries on the 26th of January, it moves into your ninth house of higher education, philosophy, beliefs, long-term travel, expansion, meaning. Neptune inspires your quest for meaning and truth. Whether you are Leo rising, expanding into spiritual philosophy, a Leo sun, finding identity through inspired learning, or a Leo moon, emotionally awakened by new beliefs, you are now being called to become a spiritual teacher and philosophical warrior. Over the next 13 years, you will discover and courageously share your truth. For example, you can now be drawn to study spiritual traditions that emphasize courage and action, like warrior Buddhism or indigenous practices honoring the sacred warrior. But this can also manifest by you traveling to places that challenge and inspire you. Returning with perspective that changes your entire worldview. You can begin now teaching what you're learning, or that could be by starting a blog, a podcast, or classes sharing your spiritual journey and your philosophy. Your beliefs shift from passive faith to active conviction, and you are unafraid to share controversial spiritual truths. So, if you have any planets at between 0 and 2 degrees in any sign, not just for Leo, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, Neptune will aspect those planets, and that will be spiritualizing that planet's function in your chart. I've already covered if you are a Sun between 0 and 2 degrees, your identity now becomes spiritual, your life purpose clarifies around a mission. The later degrees will start feeling this a little bit later in the year and in the next 13 years. If you are a moon between 0 to 2 degrees, you can expect maximum impact. All right, so what does that mean? If you're a moon between 0 and 2 degrees, that will impact your emotional sensitivity, which will heighten now. Your psychic abilities can emerge, and just your need in general for spiritual emotional practices will become heightened. If you have Mercury between 0 and 2 degrees, your communication becomes inspired, channeled, writing or speaking spiritually, confusion or genius ideas. If you have Venus between 0 and 2 degrees, your love now becomes transcendent, attracting soulmates or spiritual partners, or art becomes mystical. If you have your Mars between 0 and 2 degrees, your action is now guided by spirit, your spiritual warrior energy, and you can see you crusading for your beliefs. Now, if you have Leo planets in between 0 and 2 degrees, Neptune will be trining your Leo placements there, your sun, your moon, your Mercury, whatever planet you have in Leo, other than your sun, moon, or ascendant. With Neptune in Aries, your creative self expression becomes divinely inspired. Art now flows through you. You perform or create with spiritual purpose. Leadership becomes service. So you can see specific manifestation if you are a Leo sun, moon, or rising between 0 and 2 degrees. You are now called to lead a spiritual movement or creative revolution. Your art performance carries healing energy. People are inspired by your courage to be authentic. Or you might teach confidence or self expression as spiritual practice. Regardless, your presence now becomes magnetic because you are channeling something that is larger than ego. Throughout the entire month of January, Uranus has been a retrograde in Taurus. And at the end of the month, it's starting to prepare for its direct station in Taurus. Uranus governs revolution, innovation, sudden change, awakening, rebellion, independence, technology, and liberation. It represents breakthroughs, genius insights, unconventional thinking, and the drive to break free from limitation. Uranus disrupts the status quo, bringing unexpected events that shake us awake and force evolution. It's the planet of progress, individuality, and a radical authenticity. It change happens suddenly but leads to freedom. Uranus now is at its final degrees in its 7-year journey in Taurus. It's been retrograding since September last year. It's now getting ready to station direct. It will happen exactly at the beginning of February, but that we can start feeling its direct motion effects. And what that will bring is basically a forward movement that it's activating in finances, values, material resources, technology, and lifestyle, which is what Taurus represents. Changes you can now implement, all of us in general, while Uranus is getting ready to move direct, are new jobs, investment strategies, lifestyle changes, and technology upgrades. Now, for you, Leo, when um, Uranus is a retrograde in Taurus in your 10th house all January. Uranus is retrograde from 27 around 27 degrees at the entire month, so from 27 degrees and 57 minutes to 27 degrees 28 minutes throughout January. And it's getting ready to station direct in a February, very early February. So you are most affected if you have planets or angles at between 25 and 30 degrees Leo. Uranus will be within orb and squaring your Leo planets. That means you can see some creative disruption or ego versus authenticity tension. So when what Uranus retrograde means. I'm just going to kind of repeat this a little bit. When Uranus is retrograde, a revolutionary change turns inward. Instead of external disruptions, you are internally reviewing what needs to change in your life regarding finances, values, material security, and self worth. You've been questioning, contemplating, and preparing for changes since September 2025, where the last time Uranus started its retrograde into Taurus. This is the final month of Uranus retrograde before it stations direct early February. This is your last chance to finalize your internal revolution before it becomes external reality. Whatever you've been contemplating about money, values, possessions, or self-worth needs to reach internal clarity this month. When Uranus stations direct, it's like releasing a compressed spring. All the internal changes you've been processing will start manifesting externally. If you have planets at 27, 28 degrees of fixed signs like Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, February, but I would say January 30th, when Uranus is already starting its preparation for its direct motion, is January 30th. It's your breakthrough day. End of January, beginning of February. Now, overall, for everybody, not just for you Leos, but the themes that you can see for Uranus in Taurus, regardless of your sign. If you have 27 to 28 degrees planets anywhere, that's very, very tight orb. Uranus in late Taurus is affecting your relationship with money and finances. Values and worth, material possessions, security, resources, and physical body. So use January to finalize your internal clarity about these themes. After January, you start taking external action, or you'll see Uranus doing some sudden changes in those areas. Now, I also want to say, let's use a higher orb degree here. So not just, obviously, for those of you between 27 and 28 degrees, very, very direct impact. But 25, I will say 25 to 30 degrees planets, you will still be feeling this quite intensely. So now let's have a look at how can Uranus in this late degrees Taurus can be affecting your relationship with money and finances. What this means is basically you can see revolutionary income sources now in your life, or unconventional earning that can open up for you. Financial independence is the theme for this aspect. Your values and worth. So basically, what you truly value versus what you were thought to value will become more apparent in your life now. It will be the theme. Yourself, there is a self-worth revolution theme here. Your material possessions. So you can start thinking about minimalism, nomadic lifestyle, or just valuing experiencing over things. Security theme for Uranus in Taurus is basically finding security through freedom rather than control, and trusting yourself as your security. Uranus in Taurus in theme for resources, speaking to innovative resource management, basically, or sharing economy. Alternative resources is the key theme here. It can also be about your physical body. So the theme here is your body autonomy, your physical transformation, your relationship with physical pleasure. For you, Leo, Uranus is retrograde in your 10th house of career and public image. Your internal revolution is now about your career path, your professional identity, your public role, your authority. Finalizing this period of time can see you finalizing career changes. Through, at the end of the month and beginning of February, Uranus is stationed direct, is getting ready to station direct. This is your career revolution becoming public. Like, you can make a decision to change careers, or you can get clarity on your leadership style, understanding your authentic professional path. What more can you expect? What can you expect when, from the end of the month, when Uranus is starting its direct motion? Uranus direct basically supercharges your career and public reputation with absolute revolutionary energy. Whether you're a Leo rising, making bold professional moves, or Leo sun, finding identity through innovative work, or a Leo moon, needing emotional fulfillment through meaningful career, you can now implement the changes you've been strategizing. Your professional life accelerates in unexpected directions. So, what can you expect? You can be accepting a position in a cutting edge field, for example, or launch a business that disrupts your industry, or pivot careers entirely to work involving technology, social change, or creative innovation. You might become known publicly for unconventional expertise, like speaking, writing, or leading in ways that challenge norms. You can do your LinkedIn updates, website launches, or public presence that shifts now to reflect your authentic professional identity. Authority figures who limited you are now, you will see that they start to be getting replaced by mentors who encourage innovation. Your reputation transforms from traditional professional to innovative leader. I'm sure you are very much looking forward to this change in energies. Now let's have a look at Jupiter. Jupiter is also, let's have a look, Jupiter here. It's also been retrograding the entire month in Cancer. Jupiter governs expansion, growth, wisdom, optimism, faith, abundance, higher learning, and the search for meaning. It represents our capacity for hope, generosity, philosophical understanding, and the principle that life is fundamentally benevolent. Jupiter shows where we seek to grow, what we believe in, how we find meaning, and our relationship with luck and opportunity. When a retrograde, Jupiter turns growth inward, developing internal wealth, wisdom, and faith rather than external expansion. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, but it's being retrograding, so it's about internal expansion. What you're experiencing, what you can be experiencing, or all of us can be experiencing during this time, is internal emotional growth, or reviewing home and family matters, building internal security. The blessings are happening inside ourselves this month. So, in general, Jupiter, the most activated degrees this month are from 17 to 21 degrees, because Jupiter is retrograde from 21 to 17 degrees Cancer throughout January 2026. Until it will station direct. It will continue its retrograde motion during next month as well. So let's dive a little bit deeper into understanding Jupiter retrograde. When Jupiter, the planet of expansion, abundance, and wisdom, it's retrograde, the growth turns inward. Instead of external opportunities and blessings, you are experiencing internal expansion, physical deepening, emotional wisdom, spiritual growth. Jupiter in Cancer retrograde specifically means reviewing your emotional needs, your family relationships, your sense of home, and what truly makes you feel secure. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. This means Jupiter functions at its absolute best in Cancer. Even retrograde, Jupiter in Cancer brings blessings, but they're internal, private, and emotional rather than external and visible. This entire month is perfect for emotional healing, family reconciliation, inner work on security issues, and understanding what home truly means to you. Don't expect external expansion just yet. That comes after Jupiter goes direct in March. January is about internal emotional abundance. All month, Jupiter retrograde in Cancer brings internal blessings like emotional intelligence. This can see you understanding feelings deeply, becoming emotionally wiser. It can bring family healing, internal shifts in family relating, even without external conversations. It can bring home appreciation, gratitude for where you live. It can bring nurturing capacity, so you can become better at caring for self and others. It can bring you security, wisdom, understanding what truly creates security for you. It can be about feeling connected to your ancestral lineage, or in general, it's inner wealth. It's about your emotional abundance regardless of the externals. So use January for internal work. External manifestations comes in March when Jupiter goes direct. Now, throughout January, Jupiter is a retrograde from 21 degrees to 17 degrees Cancer. And it will station direct um, on March 11, 2026. So, just to add a little bit more on Jupiter retrograde, when Jupiter, the planet of expansion, abundance, and wisdom, is a retrograde, growth turns inward, like I mentioned before. Instead of external opportunities and blessings, you are now experiencing internal expansion, philosophical deepening, emotional wisdom, spiritual growth. Jupiter in Cancer retrograde specifically means reviewing your emotional needs, family relationships, sense of home, and what truly makes you feel secure. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. This means Jupiter functions at its absolute best in Cancer. Even retrograde, Jupiter in Cancer brings blessings, but they're internal, private, and emotional rather than external and visible. Overall themes for January 2026, this entire month, is perfect for emotional healing, family reconciliation, inner work on security issues, and understanding what home truly means to you. Don't expect external expansion yet. That comes after Jupiter goes direct in March. January, it's about internal emotional abundance. So I would like to have a look at right, so key manifestations by degree. As I said, Jupiter is a retrograde from 21 to 17 degrees during January. So these degrees will definitely be the most impacted ones. So if you have any planets in between 17 and 21 degrees, especially your sun, moon, or ascendant in Leo, you will be seeing this and feeling this more than others. I think everybody will still feel it and see it. Like I said, Jupiter's impact is a longer term one. It will not be just for January, but it will be very intense during this month for these degrees, specific degrees. Overall themes for Jupiter retrograde during January. What are these blessings? So overall, not just Leos, but for everybody, it can be around emotional intelligence. So becoming emotionally wiser. It can be about family healing, internal shifts in family relating, even without external conversations. Your home appreciation, your gratitude for where you live, nurturing capacity. Better, you can become now better at caring for self and others. Your security wisdom is going to be highlighted, understanding what truly creates security for you. Or maybe your ancestral connection, feeling connected to lineage. Or you can feel this inner wealth, your emotional abundance, regardless of any externals. So use January for your internal work. External manifestations will come when Jupiter goes direct. Now, for you specifically, Leo, if you're a Leo rising, Jupiter retrograde, it's retrograding in your 12th house of spirituality and subconscious. Spiritual emotion expansion is what you can expect during January. Your dreams are bringing wisdom now. Your subconscious is healing. Emotional patterns are releasing. So, for example, you can have dream insights about family, meditation, meditation revealing emotional wisdom. The spiritual practices nurturing you, and an ancestral healing in dreams. So, Jupiter retrograde is in this hidden house. It's basically retrograding in your hidden realm. It creates internal spiritual expansion. Whether you're really rising, we've discussed about, you can be preparing for emergence next year. A Leo sun, finding identity through inner work, or a Leo moon, emotionally healed through spiritual practice. You are growing through solitude and introspection in January. Public activity decreases, internal transformation deepens. So, more ways in which you can see this manifesting for you in January. Like I said, you can be drawn to spiritual practices, therapy, or healing work that happens privately, like meditation. It could be meditation retreats or intensive therapy sessions, or just creative projects that you work on alone. You might need more sleep, so you can now dream more vividly, and can be processing subconscious material, as mentioned. Or your social obligations can feel a little bit draining now. So you prefer solitude and deep inner work. You are now releasing old patterns and healing wounds in preparation for Jupiter entering your first house. It's going to be this year, not next year, in July. You will step forward renewed. So the growth is invisible, but it's profound now. You are becoming whole through surrendering ego. Now, throughout the month, we're also having Saturn in Pisces at its final degrees. Saturn governs structure, discipline, responsibility, maturity, limitations, time, authority, and mastery through effort. It represents our relationship with reality, hard work, long term commitment, and the principle that growth requires patience and dedication. Saturn shows where we must mature, what we're building over time, and where we face our greatest tests. It's the wise teacher who demands excellence. It's the taskmaster who creates lasting achievement through disciplined effort. Saturn is now completing a 2.5 year journey through Pisces, and it will enter Aries next month. We are all now being asked to complete our spiritual projects, to master boundaries with compassion, and to release martyrdom patterns. And let's have a look at Pluto now. Pluto, again, all month long, it will be in Aquarius. Pluto governs transformation, death and rebirth, power, the unconscious, obsession, and the process of deep fundamental change. It represents what must die so something new can be born, where we experience power and powerlessness, and our capacity for profound psychological transformation. Pluto digs beneath the surface to expose truth, eliminates what's no longer viable, and catalyzes complete metamorphosis. It's the planet of evolution through crisis, of intensity through healing, and empowerment through facing our shadows. Transforming collective consciousness, technology, power structures throughout from 2026 to 2043. So the themes of Pluto in Aquarius in general is technology's role in society, power in networks, collective movements, and finally the North and South Node. The North Node is in Pisces and the South Node is in Virgo. The lunar nodes are the points where the moon's orbit crosses the ecliptic, marking our soul's evolutionary path. The North Node shows where we're growing, the new skills, the attitudes, and experiences we are meant to develop in this lifetime. The South Node represents our comfort zone, natural talents and past patterns that we must release to evolve. The nodes reveal our karmic direction, what we are moving toward, the North, and what we're moving away from, the South Node. They show the fundamental tension between comfortable habits and necessary growth. So the North Node is about surrender, compassion, creativity, and faith. The South Node, it's about releasing perfectionism, overanalysis, and control. Collectively, we are asked to trust more, control less, feel more, analyze less, due to the nodes being in Pisces and Virgo. That would be a general understanding. And that's January 2026 for you. Quick recap of your power dates. January 3rd, full moon emotions peak. January 18th, new moon, set your intentions. January 20th, Saturn Sextile Uranus, your golden window for sustainable change. January 26th, Neptune Enters Aries, once in 165 years. Feel that shift. January 30th, Uranus is preparing to move direct after months of retrograde. It changes finally move forward. If you want a full deep dive, 90 minutes plus, covering your entire 2026. Link is in the description and pinned in the comment. Drop your rising sign below. Hit like if this helped. Subscribe for February's forecast. And remember, the stars don't control you, they inform you. What you do with this energy is up to you. See you in the next one. Bye for now.